I'm Catherine Ross, and I'm here live from the NYC with Jim Cramer. Jim, what's on the top of your mind?
China, NBA, list of 28 companies, religious freedom, the right to be able to protest. These are all in play. I've been waiting for this to happen. There was a speech on the 4th day of October of last year, 1 year ago, where Vice President Pence said that it was all about, not about commerce. It's about free speech, religious persecution, godlessness. I've been waiting for this to happen, and now it's upon us. And it's odd. I didn't see it coming from the NBA because I didn't expect a general manager to suddenly say he was in favor of the protest. Now, the more you think about this...
Sorry, just especially the fact that it's the Houston Rockets general manager.
Right, which is basically the home team for China. So you start realizing the guy, it wasn't like it was like a drunken tweet or something. I mean, the guy obviously knew the implications. And for him to do that is to say that he has had enough of the repression and he favors free speech over profit and free speech over revenue that they're going to have to forgive. It's going to go away. And this is what I've been waiting for some business person to say, you know what, I've done a lot of business with China, and I'm getting out, not because President Trump tells me to, but because I think it's right and that my conscience dictates it. And we haven't seen that. And to see it from the GM of what's basically the home team of the United States is a breakthrough. It's foreign policy versus capitalism. And I think that increasingly, as we get closer and closer to the election, this is going to be the battleground. Senator Warren yesterday came out basically in favor of the GM of the Rockets, who says that there should be First Amendment rights. And President Trump has not come out hard against what the Chinese are doing in Hong Kong. He is not. So now the pressure's on the president, pressure's on all the companies that are involved, pressure's on Nike, on Apple. Everyone is going to have to declare, if this thing doesn't go away, every company is going to have to declare, because you'll see Mark Parker from Nike. You'll say, "What are you going to pull out? What are you going to do? What are you going to do?" And that's going to put tremendous pressure on American companies, and whether it be 3M, Emerson that I have tonight on Mad Money, and it's going to cause the market to be down very big today.
Now, the NBA the preseason games are not allowed to be streamed in China following this news. So I'm wondering when...
The preseason games had tremendous numbers of people watching. 500 million people watch basketball. David and I were talking, the party is always unrelenting. Like the party, heaven forbid if the party were to say, look, that's one person. In reality, the Rockets are in favor of coming here. He does not represent China, the Chinese fans they have. Heaven forbid they would do that. Instead, you just knew that they were going to just crush them with hobnail boots. And this is the problem. Ever since we let the Chinese be in WTO, ever since we let Mexico and Canada have NAFTA, we've sold out our workers. Our workers make much less money. That's just empirical. There's nothing. You could say I shouldn't choose the word sold out. Our workers don't make as much money, in part because China was let into WTO and because we started with NAFTA. But this is a moment in time where I think that capital has to be sacrificed, whether it be for labor, because labor's been systematically screwed by China and Mexico and Canada, or because of conscience. And the conscience, which is really what Vice President Pence has been talking about, would almost make it so that if you're Nike, I'm not saying pull out of China. I am saying, listen, we agree that there should be freedom of expression in Hong Kong. But right now, I have said over and over again, there is a belief that the Chinese are losing face because of President Trump's attitude toward trade. That's nonsense. They're losing face because they can't control one of the largest colonies they have. And it's a colony. I mean, it's kind of like, could the British control the empire? I don't think people get it. And it makes me so it's uncomfortable again to own. We only have one stock that's directly impacted, which is Caterpillar, and it's been terrible. It's been terrible because of these trade talks and because of what's happening with the general manager of the Rockets. So I'm cognizant. You should be cognizant.
Jim, will the NBA be a talking point when the U.S. and China sit down to talk trade?
No, I think that it's too granular. I think it'll be religious freedom. But see, remember, religious freedom wasn't supposed to be on the agenda. That's what's really important. It was not supposed to be on the agenda. It was just supposed to be trade. Now, it was supposed to be intellectual property, it was supposed to be theft, it was supposed to be fentanyl, but it was not religious freedom. That is something new that's been layered on, and it's from commerce, and it basically ended any hope of the talks. Ended, which is odd because yesterday afternoon, Trump posited there could be good things coming from the trade talks. Friday, Larry Kudlow says there will be good things from the trade talks. So now we have to start thinking, like, where do they come up with this stuff? It's obviously that their Commerce Department issued this right in the face of the talks. So it's very interesting because Ambarella is the one that's most directly impacted, but the ripple effect here is just huge. I mean, whether it be whether NVIDIA, which we own for Action Alerts, can close on the Mellanox deal, what it means for Boeing, what it means for American Express was hoping to get in there without having a real, without having a joint venture partner that would suck their profits. So it's a very important moment. And I was shocked that Commerce issued that report. Shocked. It was just not the day you would expect them to do it.
Jim, I want to switch gears because I do want to talk about your real money column this morning, which focused on yields. And I think that it's really important to highlight right now, after a Monday where we saw the Dow in the green, then the red, then the green, then the red. Right. We saw this continuing pattern. Your column this morning focused on why you should be paying attention to stocks with decent yields. So, Jim, my question for you is investing education. Why should investors have at least one portfolio position that has a decent yield?
Well, look, I favor income, and I favor income that's sustainable. Don't reach for it. I posit in the piece that Macy's, even though they have a big cash flow and they've got the debt under control, a 10% means it's dicey. I've gone over with Dow Chemical, the 6%. I feel confident there, but because that's fossil fuel, no one's buying into it. But it's Southern, it's Dominion, letter D. Go by Dominion. That's a Con Ed I like very much. That's steady, and they already have their earnings model built in for many years.
Jim, our real money stock of the day is Domino's today. They posted earnings before the bell. They disappointed, to be very frank.
Yeah, but what they did was they guided down to a more realistic level. And I'm so glad they're coming on Mad Money, because now that it's down to a more realistic level, maybe they can beat it. I mean, it was always this problem was that they always had this, they had a historic belief that they would have a growth forever at a very high level. And as soon as the other competitors got delivery via the third-party delivery, which is venture capital, which is here you're speaking about things like DoorDash or Postmates or Grubhub, that equalized and made it so they don't have they just don't have the advantage that they had. So I'm glad that they finally changed the range. It's meaningful. It'll help.
So you think that they're feeling that pressure from Grubhub?
Yes, but I want to know, let's say everybody cuts numbers tomorrow. I feel like that you should buy it tomorrow, not today, if you're going to buy it. But let's see what he says.
All right, before we head on over to Action Alerts Plus for our daily rundown show, we've got Bull Market Fantasy at around 10:45 a.m. this morning.
Oh, geez, getting near. Well, you know what? We're going to talk about what to do on the waiver wire during bye week. We're going to talk about what to do when you're garbage time. We'll talk about how to find some new wide receivers. I need that help because my wide receivers have fallen down on the job. And we're going to talk about what teams are real and what teams aren't.
All right.
Are the 49ers for real? I think they are. I mean, think about it. 49ers in first place, Seattle in second place, and Rams in third. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have a wild card from that division in the Rams. But things are getting heated, and we're going to have a line on it all.
All right, and of course, head on over to the Ask Cramer section on bullmarketfantasy.com because I'll be monitoring your questions all show long. All right, if you're watching on Facebook or on TheStreet.com, we are now heading over to our Action Alerts Plus Daily Rundown show on ActionAlertsPlus.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.